But, Mark, we started from the bottom. Now we are here at the almost top.
Yep.
Almost top. We're here at the almost top as we are now previewing the Atlanta Falcons, or, as my Simpsons fans might go, the Atlanta Falcons, the Denver Broncos. We're previewing the Atlanta Falcons, and really the thing that we have to start with this one is, can the Falcons overcome what happened last year? Or is this going to be a year, and Falcon fans might think I'm stupid for asking this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Can they overcome what happened in the Super Bowl? Or is there a possibility this team pulls a Panthers, where it was Super Bowl, you lose to one of the better quarterbacks or one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and now you're just like, they're not as good as they were last year?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing for the Falcons. I mean, it's crushing. Let's just get it out of the way.
Matt Ryan got a new commercial from Gatorade out of it, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
with
nice.
Serena Williams and Michael Jordan.
So that's not a bad deal. But let's get it out of the way. They blew a 25-point lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's been said. It doesn't need to be said in the comment section. I'm trying to save you Atlanta Falcons fans out there. Something that's going to get you angry, because they're out there.
Sean said it, I think, 25 times in their draft video. So, yeah, it was...
Subtle.
It was very subtle. Very subtle.
So I got it out of the way already. We don't need to do it. You can thank me later, Falcon fans. So here's the thing. This was one of the best.
It wasn't 25, 21-3. That was it. It was a 21-3.
No,
lead.
they blew a 25-point lead.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you right?
They blew a 25-point lead.
Okay. Go on what you were saying. Forget I said anything.
I got you. 25-point lead.
Forget I said anything.
So they had one of the best offenses. I mean, undisputed. No questions about it.
Not Skip and Shannon, though.
Yeah, I thought that's why I kind of hesitated when I said it. And I'm like, oh, that's already a show.
Not Skip and Shannon, though.
Now we got to pay
royalties
to, what is it, Fox Sports Net 1?
FS1.
Fox Sports Net 1, whatever. So they had one of the best offenses.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They scored more points than anybody. The problem is they didn't have that great of a defense. It wasn't a bad defense, but it wasn't that great. So the question really comes down to, yeah, sure, can the offense continue to perform? But, I mean, you got Julio. Sanu was doing great out there. Mm-hmm. You got Matt Ryan, Devonta Freeman out there, Chevin Coleman. So you got all these weapons. You're not worried about this offense. My question is a guy like Tok McKinley, whatever he wants to be called. Duke Riley, getting him in the third round, inside linebacker. Are these going to be guys who really can come in and make a difference? Are they even really going to be asked to make a difference? Because this team needs to get more of a pass rush going on, sure. They need to stop teams from scoring. I mean, really, we can talk about the 25-point, loss all we want here, blowing that, but all it can really take is one stop. I know it's Tom Brady, but how many of those absolute terribly blown coverages were there in the Super Bowl during that comeback? I mean, it was painful to watch at times.
Was it all their fault, though? The offense wasn't scoring.
Well, no, I'm not saying that it's their fault.
They got to 28, and then the offense said, we're going to stop.
But throughout the season, what was good? The offense, not the defense. And then it comes down to the Super Bowl, and we're just sitting there on a national stage watching these blown coverages. And they need to be able to stop opposing quarterbacks. Whether that's going to be because you're hitting them behind the line, which they've got pieces to do it already, and now they're getting an addition as well, or if it's going to be the secondary that needs to improve. To me, that's really the big thing that I'm going to kind of hope to see out of them, because you look at Atlanta's passing defense, and they're towards the bottom. They're like 28th when it comes to defense against the pass. When it comes to the run, they are 22. Sure, you can have as good of an offense as you want, but we talked about this with Drew Brees. That offense can be absolutely amazing. Drew Brees has the best passing game in the NFL, but does it get him to a single playoff game ever since that Super Bowl? He can't get back. Now, I'm not saying that the Atlanta Falcons are not getting back. This is such an impressive team. Almost the greatest show on turf out there last year. But if you just improve that, and they tried. They made their additions in the offseason. No joke about it. So they tried. If these come up and these guys come to play, these new kids are here to play, then all of a sudden there is no doubt in my mind that the Atlanta Falcons are right back there. They're a 12, 13 win team, and they're going right back for it.
I think they will be back there, and mainly because I think in the regular season, I mean, I look at the roster, and you didn't lose too much. You didn't have to add too much. The biggest addition on this team is on the defensive front. You add Dontari Poe to your offensive line, which is going to help. Is it going to necessarily help in the pass rush game? It might help in the fact of he takes up two guys.
Well, that's more of what McKinley is going to be there for, to come in and pass rush.
Yeah, and McKinley's going to be looks like he'll be on the left side. Vic Beasley on the right. Also, Brooks Reed is also on the left side as well. So it's kind of using the combination of him and McKinley. I look at the schedule and with the team that they have, I still have them going 13-3 this year. And I know there are games you're like, well, Ricky, the Packers could beat them.
Well, Ricky, they play the Bears at home.
You look at the Patriots.
Let's be real here.
The Patriots could beat them. I do have the Falcons beating the Patriots in the regular season. In the revenge game, this Falcons team, I think that this is going to be a year where they're the favorite in the division. They make the playoffs again. And really it comes down to how are they going to fare against the big boys. I don't have them beating the Cowboys right now. I don't have them winning in Seattle. I have them losing one Buccaneer game because I think the Bucs can get the better of them at home. This is a team that is going to be back into the playoffs, will probably be there as a division winner. The only question is, can they muster the strength in the playoffs to kind of finish what they couldn't last year? Because you look back at last year's playoffs and what they had in that schedule, and it's like that Packer game, most people were coming in thinking, well, the Packers just beat the Giants, the Packers just beat the Dallas Cowboys. We're gonna probably have a Patriot-Packers Super Bowl. That's what most people were thinking. And I know people are saying, well, Ricky, the Seahawks lost to the Falcons. But yeah, they lost to the Falcons because you got to play them at home. You got to play them at home instead of with the 12th man in Seattle. So can they do that again? Can they run the table against maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on if they're a top 2 or 3 or 4? Can they run that gambit in the NFC and then beat whoever the AFC kicks out, which, let's be honest, right now the team that I'm thinking it's going to be is either the Raiders or the Patriots.
Yeah. I think here's what I look at with their schedule. It's not very difficult. It's really not. I mean, you get so many advantages. Look at these away games that you get against the Bears, against the Jets.
The Lions.
You're going to play the Lions, which I don't want to sleep on the Lions, but still. Sure, you're going to have to go to the Patriots, but at least you get that revenge game. So there should be motivation there. You're going to have to play the Seahawks at home. That's going to be your probably toughest matchup you got here. But I think they can fare well in their division because they should.
I got them 5-1.
They get to play the Packers at home. That's a huge advantage right there. They don't have that difficult of a schedule. They get to play your Vikings at home as well. So they can go out there and they can just run away with it. They really can. I mean, there's no doubt about how great this offense is. They will put up points. If this defense just gets a little bit better, they can't lose very much. I mean, the only thing that I see happening to really stop the Falcons, I don't see them getting in their own way. The only thing I see really stopping the Falcons is if they get to the playoffs and they can't get it done then. Kind of what you're saying.
No, that's exactly it.
There's no reason why they should lose the division. I do like the Buccaneers, but I have them as a wild card team, not as a division winner. But I really think that the Falcons will win the division without a doubt, and they should easily be able to do it. They just have to not get in their own heads when they get to the playoffs. Getting themselves nervous, start thinking about the Super Bowl loss. This team's too good for that.
No, and they exactly are. And I mean, the thing that I am kind of thinking about right now in my schedule, of course, I'm not going to give it all away, but like teams that I think that they could play this year when we get to the playoffs, depending on where things fall, is they could play the Seahawks like they did last year. You could play the Packers again. And, I mean, part of me wants to say that Packers game where if you see the Packers again in the playoffs, then it might be one of those things where, hey, you know what? The Packers might be able to get your number, because that was a dismal game. I know you enjoyed seeing it, being a Bears fan. You enjoyed seeing the Packers get a little bit of a beatdown in the second half from the Atlanta Falcons, but like another team that they might play this postseason that could be a problem for them, the New York Giants. You could see the Cowboys, you could see the Giants, you could see the Seahawks, you could see the Packers. Can you run the gambit? That's the term I'm using. Run the gambit against the NFC again to get to the Super Bowl. Are you that confident in this team? That's the true question that it comes down to.
Well, I think they kind of just had the shootouts and went past people. And you can see it in the way that they got so far ahead of Seattle that Seattle couldn't get back up. Even when they had their comeback, they couldn't get back to it. You saw you just mentioned the second half of the game against the Packers, where they just went right past them, and the Packers couldn't really get anything going. You saw it in the Super Bowl in the first half and then a little bit of the third quarter, where they just blew past the Patriots, just blew past them. The problem was they couldn't keep it afterwards because of the defense. Now, imagine they have this better defense to where it's not just that these teams couldn't get it started. Because the Seattle Seahawks easily could have...
You're basically putting the foot on the throat and keeping them down.
Because the Seattle Seahawks easily could have stopped it all at the very beginning and beaten the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
They were a possession away from doing it. They were almost there. They could have done it. Aaron Rodgers is never a guy you count out. Tom Brady showed what Aaron Rodgers has done to many teams, which is come back and win at the very end. So the Falcons were a dangerous team last year by their offense, but they were a danger to themselves as well, because they kept letting... Well, I shouldn't say they kept, but there were 2 times in the playoffs where they let teams come back. One time it didn't hurt, the other time it bit them.
Well, and the thing that this is the one team that I think is going to hurt they could hurt the Falcons the most if they see them in the playoffs. Do you want to take a guess at what team I'm thinking of, Mark? You know I love to play this game where I don't just tell you, I make you guess.
I feel like you're Giants.
It's the Giants. And the reason why it's the Giants is offensively, not only, like, I am really high on the Brandon Marshall signing. I feel like it's a great compliment to OBJ, and they don't have to rely solely on him. They've got now Marshall and OBJ out there. The run game is going to be the biggest question mark for the Giants, but what's the one thing the Giants have?
Defense.
Is a defense. And if the Giants if they play the Falcons and they're able to just control the game defensively while the offense works and get a few points on them. Remember that Packer-Giants game where going into halftime, the Packers, like for most of it, up until the very end, and actually the very last play, it was 7-6. It was a 1-point game until Aaron Rodgers hit Randall Cobb for 42 yards as time expired in the first half. Then the second half happened, and Giants brought it back to within a point, but then the Packers offense just exploded on them, and OBJ kind of had a meltdown in the locker room, throwing his helmet against one of the lockers. If the Giants are able to do that to the Falcons, and the thing is the defense. I know that people are going to say, Ricky, well, the Packers didn't have the best defense. Yeah, the thing, though, is when you go into Lambeau Field in the playoffs, when it's a little colder, it's hard to play there. It is hard to play in Lambeau late in the season. The Falcons had the benefit of the doubt of playing at home, but the one thing that the Falcons do have that is one of those things where opposing teams, if the right one gets in there, I know you guys got a new stadium, which has a big circular hole at the top, but you're still playing in a dome-like structure. Yeah. You're still playing in a stadium that if the weather is bad, you close the hole and you are now in a dome instead of having that open hole at the top of your stadium. I look at the Giants. They could come in.
And it's also Atlanta. The weather doesn't get bad.
And if that defense can come in and that defense kind of slows down your offense, I know you're saying, well, Ricky, we get out to fast starts. That's what we do. But if they do the impossible, slow you down, and Eli hits, and gets an early lead, this Giant team could be the one in the playoffs that ends up being the kryptonite for the Falcons.
For sure. For sure. I mean, I think that's one of the teams that'll match up very well to them. Any team that can go toe-to-toe with Matt Ryan is going to be right there because that's who they face. I mean, they face Russell Wilson, they face Aaron Rodgers, they face Tom Brady, quarterbacks that can go toe-to-toe with anybody.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to be dangerous for them. I for sure expect them winning the division. I for sure expect them back in the playoffs. The question is just how far they're going to go.
My question, this is the last one I will ask you in this one. This might be our shortest preview, but that's usually what you get when you have teams that are so good where there's no kind of questions to ask about this team. What if I know the Cowboys, I'm expecting them to be different than last year. What if they played the Cowboys this year? Because I know that was a matchup that we all expected before Aaron Rodgers hit Cook for the miraculous catch on the edge of the sideline. Could the Cowboys match up with them and Dak this year? I know it's a new year.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so because Dak is that methodical kind of quarterback. He's going to dink and dunk, and then they're going to use the run game. So it's a slow game, and the Falcons are built on, almost Chip Kelly, we're going to score fast. And neither defense is that good. They're not that great. So I don't expect that to be that big of a deal. I think that a
true tortoise in the hare.
Yeah, Matt Ryan could just blow past him. And I'm not saying that the Cowboys can't put up their points as well, but I see Matt Ryan going right past.
No, this is a team, though. I mean, I think both me and you are in agreement where this is a team, could be 13-3 again, could be a top 2 team in the NFC, could go right back to the playoffs. And if they can string things along in the NFC again, this could be a team this year that goes back to a second straight Super Bowl in my mind. They would be one of the handful of teams in the NFC that I would pick to go to a Super Bowl.
Unfortunately, if they do it, they're probably going to have to face the Patriots again.
Current
favorite.
To me, there are 3 teams that could be in the Super Bowl. The Patriots, the Steelers, the Raiders, in no particular order. And the reason why I would have the Steelers as the last man out is because if they play the Patriots, they're screwed. If they play the Patriots, then they can't lose. They can't beat the Patriots in the playoffs. It's proven. But any final thoughts on the Falcons before we wrap this thing up?
No, I mean, just it's a damn good team. If that defense just gets a little bit better, this team is almost unstoppable.
Well, and this is where you guys let us know what you guys think about the Falcons. Are they going to be as good as they were last year? If they get to the playoffs, can they run the gambit again and get back to the Super Bowl this season? And if there's a team out there that you see could be the kryptonite for this team in the NFC side of the playoffs, let me know who that could be down below in the comment section. Also, if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, thank you guys for sticking with us. If you listened or watch the full-length podcast on YouTube, you guys are real troopers. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching this whole podcast with you. Mark and I will be back in a week. I was going to say 2 weeks, but that's not right. No. What I'm thinking is August 21st. Mark your calendars. That's the week Mark and I do our full division previews, do our full hold us to them predictions for the 2017 season. So mark your calendars there. We'll be back next week for some more football news. But as always, have a good day, everybody.